Follow your dreams. Let's be real, that can sound like a BS woo-woo mantra. How the F do you actually do it? How do you push past the fear, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, and all the stuff life throws at you? What the F does it really take? Hey, I'm Natasha Mayat. I'm an actor, an acting coach, a creative, and a dreamer just like you. My mission is to follow my effing dreams and inspire you to do the same. We're gonna figure it out together. The podcast is dedicated to my dad. He told me to follow my dreams without the F. But let's be honest, the F is necessary, my friends, because following your dreams isn't just about manifesting and good vibes. It's about taking action. You gotta get uncomfortable. We've gotta go for it. And even when we have no idea what the F we're doing. Each week, I'm gonna share everything I know about everything I'm learning, mindset shifts, breakthroughs, and the real, unfiltered, honest AF journey of following big dreams. Plus, I'm gonna talk to the most inspiring people I know. Artists, entrepreneurs, speakers, risk takers, people who didn't wait for permission. They just effing went for it. So if you're done overthinking and you're ready to start living your dreams, hit the subscribe button. Let's do it together.
Hello, everybody, and we are live here on Follow Your Effing Dreams, and I'm super excited today because this is one of my first in-person podcasts in a long time. Yes, Soleil, and also I get to speak to not just another guest, but to somebody who's a friend and also returning on the show after I don't know how many years. Was it like 2021?
Oh my gosh, the first podcast we did was like remote in like, yeah, it was like post-COVID vibes. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
And we actually got to know each other remotely before we met. Like we got to know each other really well, filming a movie in lockdown.
Literally.
That is yet to be released. But hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Follow Your Effing Dreams. And I'm going to try to do this one justice. But this episode is for you out there. If you're also a multi-hyphenate, if you are a creator, if you're an entrepreneur, and if you're an artist. I'm here today with Katishcka Kiara, who is so many things, but for me, you're just a creative. She's built a career between here, also going global now, between here and London, and from acting to production to leading programs for the upcoming generation of content creators in sub-Saharan Africa. I really want to hear about that, but to leadership. And so welcome to the podcast, and I'm super excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
I can't really do your intro justice. Like, how do you introduce yourself to somebody in a coffee shop when they're like, what do you do?
That is a great question because I think even just the term multi-hyphenate is only something that I really registered this year. I'm like, oh damn, like I'm doing all of these things and like we're doing things that people weren't doing, you know, a couple years ago. Like we're in like these roles and in doing these jobs that didn't exist, that like we're kind of paving the way for like figuring out what that is. I would also describe myself as a creative first, like as an artist. And I think that translates into every work that I do, whether it is like project management or whether it is actually acting. They all work together, right? I'm sure you found that too. Like all your worlds make you just like this great concoction of a human.
I love that. The next time somebody asks me what I do, I'm going to say I'm a concoction. But, you know, I think it's really interesting too, because I grew up kind of with this idea in my mind of, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. And I felt I had to do just one thing. But even when I went to college in the US, I did a double major and it was liberal arts. So I could combine science with, you know, hip hop dancing. And I realized you don't maybe have to do one thing, and you don't also have to have just one career in this life, you know. And so it's really exciting. I think it's an exciting time when more people are stepping into their creators. So I love what you just said about the multi-hyphenate.
Yeah. And, you know, like I've been thinking so much about like jack of all trades, master of none recently, because I'm like, do I need to like niche down and like pick one thing to be good at? Because, you know, they're like, if you want to be good at something, like put in the 10,000 hours and like don't do too much. But
Which I have, by the way. We've done that. We're just good at multiple things. And I bet if you're watching, you're also good at multiple things, and that's okay.
Yeah. I also realize I am like a bit ADHD, but like high performing, which is great because like I think that's why I can like keep inspiration of so many different things and switch between things. But yeah, I just I think it's each world informs the next. Like whether you're in corporate, whether you're a creative, like you need to have these crossover skills which empower you as a person, you know, because like we are the business really, and the business is expanding every year.
It's really expanding. This is my year of expansion. But I think I can also be a bit ADHD. So I'm so glad I have my questions here. I'm going to jump right in. But yeah, I'm super excited to basically, for me, you're like a creative nomad, right? Between multiple continents, kind of like me, and between kind of all the things coming together as well. But let me just jump in with, you know, especially since the first time you were here on the podcast, you've kind of launched your career blending acting, production, and also creative leadership. So was there like a starting point when your career started to expand?
Absolutely. I think the catalyst was moving to Cape Town, because when we first did the podcast, I was still based in Durban. My work was here, but actually making the move here changed the game, because it was also like, I think, trying new things. People sometimes want to stick to just like one thing. Like, yes, I came here with the intention of being an actor. I found myself becoming a project manager over the past 3 years. It's like I was saying yes to things, you know, like I was here quite literally like with a dream, with like a whole bunch of faith. And then I reached a point where I was running out of savings, literally. We can all relate. Right? And then I was like, look, universe, I literally looked out the window, spoke to the sky, and I was like, I really want to stay in Cape Town.
Oh my God, there's a sky right here, now. Like, we should have filmed the podcast that way, because we have like a beautiful view.
There's a beautiful harbor view here. It was actually the same foreshore sky, because it all started in foreshore for me, and I still live here now.
I love that.
Not me giving everyone my address. But yeah, and I was like, hey, like, give me something. Like, and out of nowhere, like, there was a job that I had applied for on LinkedIn that I completely forgot about, because I wasn't like actively job hunting. And they reached out to me like 2 days after I asked the sky to keep me in Cape Town, saying, hey, would you still be interested? Like, we'd love to interview you for this role. And it was to be a production assistant, and I had history in production. So, yeah, I think leaning into saying yes to things as they come, because it's like it's not taking you away from your path. It's like it's like a parallel path that's like adding to your journey, and empowered me a lot as a woman, as a businesswoman, and as an actor.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my gosh. Yes. I do think that sometimes when you take a leap, the net will appear. It was similar for me too. When I went to the US, I thought I was just an actor, and then my journey just took me from LA to moving to Atlanta, not knowing anybody, and somebody asked me if I could produce, and I discovered I really love producing. Like, I'm actually thinking it would be so fun to work together someday, you know, on that aspect, because I realized I was good at it. At some point you have to take initiative and just do the things as well. And, you know, I think there's some skills that people on the production side have. But I love what you said about saying yes. I also want to kind of digress a bit. And sometimes do you also find like it's also knowing when to say no, and that brings you closer to the next yes?
Damn, yes. Yes to that no.
Yes.
Because that's why I'm saying I think there's a season for different things, and there was definitely a season like of my early 20s of like being like, I need to try everything, because like, why not? Like, you need to, like, I've learned so much from that experience. But now going into like approaching, I don't want to say the 30s, but I'm 27 this year.
Yeah, me too, you guys, me too.
And I don't know, there's something different about it, because I feel myself wanting to refine, right? Like, these past few years were about, let's put it all there. And now I'm like, I know I have a better idea of like what interests me and like what I want to focus on this season, and that can change, yes, but yeah, I'm in the phase of like, oh, like I can't realistically take on everything. I need to prioritize. I need to give these tasks that I am taking on my all, because that's where you keep the inspiration alive. So like, I was experiencing a lot of burnout trying to do everything at once, and then like there's no creativity flowing, and then what's the point?
Yes, and I think we're gonna dive into that, because that's later on in my questions. But something I'm exploring right now is just my relationship with my own intuition as a woman. I know we're going to be getting into that, so we'll save that juice for later. But I wanted to ask you that you started out, is it special effects media? That's where you are right now?
Yes.
And did you start out as on the production side and now you're a creative lead, right? Exactly. Tell me a bit about that transition. How did that happen?
Yeah, that was wild. Again, like just trusting the universe. So I joined as a production assistant. Yeah. And then slowly they were like, okay, you're really good at this. Yeah. They were like, you can start coordinating some of your own projects independently. And then there was actually like a new role that opened up in the creator department, which was a world I hadn't really been in. It combined a lot of like kind of like educational content for content creators as well as marketing. I'm sure we are. Yeah. It combined like marketing as well as like upskilling creators and stuff like that. And I was like, it was in the season of like, oh, why should I be afraid to like apply for this? Like, let me just do it, because I was like, this could be really cool and like it could be a challenge. So I went in like really scared of this role, and I didn't initially get it, right? Like I made it to like the final stages, but then they were like, you know, maybe it's not the right fit for you right now. But then there was a new like YouTube project that came along, and they were like, oh, hey, like we feel like you have a good skill set that could really adapt to this project. Like, would you like to come on board? And basically it was in the same capacity as like being a creator manager, almost like, you know, creating these educational programs for YouTubers on like how to upskill, like using, you know, like actual information from YouTube themselves to inspire creators through like virtual workshops and like newsletters on like how to monetize well and use the platform well. And I learned so much in the process. So then I went into that world, and that was a lot of like learning on the job. And then it just blossomed from there as we got more and more clients coming in. So still working with YouTube and TikTok recently.
Oh my God, I might have to hit you up some of those tips, and definitely on this podcast. But that's amazing. And can you tell me a bit about the program that you recently ran as well? I think it was for content creators and you curated it. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it's a really exciting one that we just did. It was for South African content creators, like 100 of them, in partnership with Google and the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, which is really cool, right? Because I love that the government was like, hey, let's invest money and time into content creators.
The African government is
yeah, you guys are doing good. We see you. And also, obviously, in partnership with Google is really cool, because Google and YouTube run these projects all the time. So I think it was really cool for the creators to feel like supported as well, like within the country, because it's like a lot of like in a lot of countries, like influencing and like being a content creator, it's a real industry. But here I think we're still building it up, and people are struggling to be like, can this be my job? So it was really like a 4-day program for them to learn more about like how to create high quality content, how to monetize this content, how to work with brands, even like important stuff that people don't always know, like protecting your IP, right? Like, and
I need to know about that.
Right? Literally, like protecting your ideas, like copyright, making sure that your content is copyright friendly, so that you're not limiting your monetization potential. So it's like very interesting, and it also created a cool community for them. Like we literally had a WhatsApp community where all the creators were. They had like breakout rooms where they could chat, and like people want community. We have a very small content creator community here, and I think like there's a willingness to like connect, you know.
That's so beautiful. And how would one join one of those programs, like where they selected, they have to apply, you know, how, because I'm like keen. And I love that they're doing this in, you know, because I think in Africa or South Africa, this is so important, especially for the youth, for the next generation, to kind of remove this barrier. You know, like I think now with YouTube and social media, the barrier has been removed where people can create and get it out there. But how does one sort of get into this program? Because I think it's so amazing.
Absolutely. Well, we run a lot of them. So if you do want to check out Special Effects Media, we put the outreach programs like on our Instagram, on our TikToks.
Okay, I'm so enrolling.
So I will say they're not always, so each project has its own like criteria and target audience, of course. So not all of them might be like open to the public, but this one was. And I think that was something that was really cool about it. You know, like each project that like TikTok and YouTube obviously have like their own priorities that they're focusing on. But I think for this project, it was a more like casual, like upskilling time for South African content creators to get together and do that. So yeah, just keep an eye out, because I think a lot of cool people out there, like a lot of agencies are working on these types of workshops now that the content creator space is making a noise in South Africa.
Amazing. And it's so empowering as well. Yeah, and it sounds like you are really serving as well. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like, yeah, we'll probably touch on that more as well. But it's been cool because this work, it feels like fulfilling. It's like adding value to the next person, building community. And acting is super fulfilling as well. Like, but another part of myself, you know, sometimes acting is like our spirit, our soul, like more for us. And then doing other type of work where we get to like put that energy outwards and inspire the next person is always like, I'm sure you find in your work too, is like the best part.
100%. Yes to everything you said. So you sound like a busy person. And how do you balance the creative juggle? So, you know, how do you, because you're working pretty much full time in this leadership role. And I know that as an actor, you know, especially when it gets busy, sometimes an audition pops out of nowhere. And how do you sort of manage the comms between your agents with work? How do you balance that?
Great question. I think it's also seasonal because like as we know, acting is super busy in summer. That can really get chaotic. Luckily in winter, like there's a lot more time. Like I know like, okay, it's a season where I can focus in on my corporate stuff, my project management, and like really invest time and energy into that because acting is kind of like slowing down in Cape Town. But it's great that there is like a flexibility, like an understanding with the work that I do, that I'm a freelancer and that like if I hop out for an audition, like they're super chill. If I need to like be based elsewhere for like the month, if the work is still getting done, it's all good. Like, you know, like the projects are in my hands. And then with agents, I think just letting them know that like obviously generally after office hours works best, or like, hey, like can we have some sort of flexibility if possible, like can we move this to like 2 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. because I have a meeting. So yeah, I think like, yeah, just talking to your team, communicating is the easiest part.
Yeah, I think communication for me, that's the mark of a professional. So for everybody here, if you're an actor, you know, your agent's assuming you're always available, so just communicate with them, even if it's over communication, because that will make you professional. And I think nowadays in jobs, you know, it is more accepted now that people have other things that they do. So I think just communicate with them, and especially if it's like a project that's deadline based. A lot of people are working remotely. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's see. I want to get a little bit into, you know, something I admire about you is you kind of, well, if you have the fear, you definitely face it, because I know that we've been through a journey together of like changing agents twice. And like, you know, for me, you're like, okay, I'm thinking of going to the UK. And then the next month you were already there. And I really admire like that courage, or just doing the thing, because I think that sometimes, you know, I'll overthink things, and you just like go and make it happen. And so tell us a little bit about how you kind of like what made you decide to go to the UK, and can you share a little bit about, you know, what is that process like as an actor to go there from South Africa and find an agent? Maybe if you can share a little bit about what inspired you to go, and how did you do that?
Yes. So it had been on my mind for a while. London and the UK was always like, I don't know, a very dreamy city to me. And I was like, I need to go. I also did have a UK boy band phase, I will say. So from then I was like,
was the UK
I like The Wanted.
Oh my god!
If you don't know, they were better than One Direction. Direction is me right now. But anyway, so yeah, like I was always like a fangirl. I loved the culture.
Oh my god, I'm a sucker for British accent.
Right? The accent. We love a good British accent.
Oh my god, Bridgerton.
We love it.
We do love
yeah, basically.
Podcast in a British accent.
Yeah. Basically, I wanted to go there for a long time. And then basically I was getting a lot of, I'm very spiritual when I make decisions. I was getting a lot of signs. Literally like that were leading me to London. Like London was calling, literally. And then I was like, okay, I do have family there, which was also like, was kind of a catalyst.
Free accommodation.
Like, I was like, hey, this would be a good time to visit, you know, make the trip.
Well, we're Indian. There's family everywhere. Because like literally if I want to go somewhere, I'm like, Mom, do you know an auntie there? And she's like, yeah. She knows somebody in every country.
So true.
Like an auntie who knows an auntie.
Literally, like for Indian people, if your family is around the world, like, literally, like every time your family moves somewhere, it's like a benefit to you because it's a house that you have in another city, literally. So yeah, and then I decided to just, you know, send those emails. I think.
Yeah. Just send the emails.
Literally just send the emails. Like, what are we afraid of sometimes? Like, what's the worst that could happen? They're going to say no. And like, people say no.
Or they just ghost you.
Yeah. Most of them said no. And I was like, cool. moving on. Like,
Yeah.
And then eventually you get some responses, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this could be a real thing. And then I think just being honest as well, because then the one agent that I reached out to was like, hey, the big question, do you have the right to work in the UK? And I was like, well, no, I don't have a visa yet. And then they were like, okay, cool, we would be able to sponsor one. And I was like, dope, so sometimes it's like some people, like, like I feel like there was a time in my life where if I got that question, I would be like, oh no, I don't have it yet. Like, I might not have even replied. So if you're in that type of situation, just reply, like, communicate, because most times, like, they really want you on their books, like, they're gonna find a way to help you, and they do have the means to help you. So then I did that whole process. It was really cool figuring out the visa process, and like it's quite seamless actually once you have all your documents, and then getting the visa, and then actually going and be like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? I'm going to the UK with my work visa. And then auditioning, as it always happens in Cape Town. It happens like that everywhere. We do a self-tape, and then we book some jobs, and
That's amazing. And what is something that you maybe learned being out there?
I definitely learned that, like, I mean, the core of the industries are the same. Especially, like, I think it's cool, like, Cape Town is a very serious industry, and I think so is the UK. And I think, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been in the US, but I'm sure you can, like, agree that it's kind of different a little bit. Like, there's a competitiveness to it that I feel like in the UK there was still a bit of like wholesomeness, where like actors work hard, and like the ones who work hard are the ones that get the jobs. It's not like there's like, I don't know, that I didn't encounter too much of like, you have to like, navigate like the social side of things, or like, how do you get in the right room type of thing. Obviously that's an aspect, but so I think that was interesting. Like, okay, you work hard, you get good roles. And then also, like, there's obviously like a lot of global actors in the UK, which was cool to like, I went to an AMAW class in London. It was amazing.
Who taught that? Was it Madeline?
Yes, it was Madeline.
Shout out to AMAW. Oh my
We
God,
love
thank you for
AMAW.
making acting fun.
Feels like there's a home in every city when you go to AMAW. It's run the same, and it's like, it has the same format, and the actors are just, it attracts really good group of
Look
people.
at us plugging AMAW. But I will say something I admire about the UK, because, I also teach acting for AMAW online, and so many actors in the UK as well. But the actors there just love being in class. They love the work. And that's also what I got when I was in the US and LA and Atlanta. The actors love acting, and that's why they go to class. And there is not a competitiveness. It's just understood that I didn't encounter a competitiveness in LA as an actor. I did not in Atlanta. And just being honest, sometimes here I'm like, there's no competition, you guys. If you're an actor or anybody, if you're like in any field, we're all so unique. So it's completely,
Literally,
there really is no competition. And I love like the spirit of how, especially in the UK, they love theater, they love going to class, and I'm actually excited to go check it out, just to be in that culture.
Yes, people love watching theater. People love working on the craft. So, and I love that you said that. Like, I wouldn't have known, because I've never been to the US and been an actor there. But I love that you were like, you didn't encounter that. It's like a misconception, and it's so much about the energy that you have, right? Like,
yes, your vibe attracts your tribe, as they say. So if I think maybe that's also part of it.
And just like going in with an open mindset. I think, like, even if you've heard stereotypes and whatever about these industries, like, be open. Like, people will be like, oh, it's really hard, you're never gonna make it there. Well, not with that attitude.
Don't listen to those people, right? So just for everybody here, I love it because I've never broken the fourth wall before, the third wall, whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
But something I've realized too is everybody has an opinion, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
So choose the ones that empower you. And I'm just the kind of person that, even the team of agents I work with, they're big thinkers and they're positive, because I've seen in my life that nothing is impossible. I was born in Pakistan. I got an O1 to go to the US. People told me it was impossible, but then who are you going to listen to? Because you can find somebody who's done it. So I think, choose something that makes you feel good. Choose something that empowers you, especially in a time right now, with AI, with everything changing, we can be excited, or we can be like, how am I going to be empowered? Or we can be afraid. So I think that's important, that we can use our intuition, use our guidance to be like, what am I going to listen to? Is this empowering me?
Literally, it's like, have like filter out that noise, really. Like, just have some discernment of like, oh, what does this mean to me? Because nothing is impossible. I love that you said that.
And
like,
we're both Indian, but we don't compete with each other. Like, literally with the same agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've always been with the same agent, basically. Like,
always been. So anyways, let me go on, because this 4-hour, this podcast is going to be as long as like a Diary of the CEO podcast. Can you share a little bit about how have you, especially with the job that you've been doing, have you learned stuff that has helped you with your own presence online, and also can you give anybody, who is maybe looking to expand their presence on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram? Something I do want to say is that I've realized recently, it's not about being a content creator, it's a value creator. And I honestly feel that's my mission, is when I'm posting something, is this bringing value? And I think you're a value creator. I know I am. But can you speak a little bit more about how you've have you been able to apply any of that for yourself, and how can somebody, even me, expand our presence?
Absolutely. And I think being immersed in the world of like best practice for creating on YouTube and TikTok obviously has rubbed off on me. And it's like, I'm talking to, like people from YouTube, from Google, from TikTok, and it's been so inspiring learning from them and getting insights and being able to sit at these round tables with other creators and really hear like, where the creator is coming from, where the platform is coming from, and how they're trying to serve each other. So the main thing for me that sticks out, yes, value is everything. And I love that you said that, because, and I think value can mean so many different things. Like, yeah, it could be your fashion tips. It could be like sharing things that you're an expert about. It could also be comedy. A lot of people add value by providing comedy and relatable content. That's like one of the main things that thrives on TikTok, because you're speaking to a community, you're sharing like a universal message. So I think value looks so different, but just think about like, yeah, what is your intention behind the content, and like, how is it going to positively impact someone, or what is going to be their takeaway? My second thing is consistency. And this is like something across the board. Yeah. And this is like, if you guys,
it's about the algorithm that likes consistency.
It's like, I say this in my sleep. Every project across the board, we preach this to creators, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, even from hearing from Meta. I was at a Meta presentation last month, and they were like, hey, you should be posting a reel every day. How often are you guys for real?
You should be posting like 7 days a week, like, 7 times a day. And I'm like,
literally.
Oh my, so the consistency, I feel like it's challenging because, especially as an actor or just a creative, your week is so unpredictable. So I find like I'm consistent, and then there's a week that I'm like not on there at all.
Absolutely. And that's why I think like, so the why for consistency is because, yes, algorithms love picking up that consistency, because you will see a boost in your engagement, your views, your content, because you're constantly putting something out there. There's constantly something drawing people to your platform and to the rest of your content. So I've actually been testing all of these things that I've been teaching the creators. And like, even last week, for example, I posted a TikTok every day, Monday to Thursday, and like, like it's a no-brainer. Then when you post again, it's like that there's gonna be a boost. Like, you're gonna get views without even trying, because your algorithm is so prepped almost to like just like serve the right people this content, and people are already looking at your platform. And a way around it is to batch content create, which I know we talk about often, because like on weekends, like what we're doing right now, shoot your content and like edit it and have stuff to post every day. Like, we're not saying, oh my gosh, wake up on Tuesday morning and be like, shoot something for Tuesday. Like, plan it ahead. And I think it's okay to have like a week that might be busy, but I think don't let it be stagnant for like, oh my gosh, it's a month that you didn't post. That's wild.
No, never. What's that?
A month is like social debt.
Oh gosh, it's hilarious because in August I told myself I was going to be off of socials for a year, and then a few months I'm like back. But I think it's also been amazing to connect with people on different sides of the world, right? Because I think in one way it's not increasing your following, it's just reaching more people and spreading your message. What is something, especially right now, like everyone seems to be saying the industry is changing, everything is changing, but I feel like it always was. What is something that we should be focused on right now as creators? What do you think is important right now?
Yeah, I think we've all been talking about this, but really authenticity, it's so
oh my gosh,
obvious. It's the obvious one, but guys, why are we living in a time where the hardest thing for all of us is to be authentic?
Even AI is more authentic sometimes than some people.
Even ChatGPT
oh my God,
is more than me. So actually, it's interesting because we all have such a unique light to share. And sometimes, actually, most times, we're the only one holding ourselves back because we're thinking about like, oh my gosh, what is someone going to think? How is this going to be received? And really, like, we talked about this actually today. Like, hey, like, people are going to judge whether you do it or not. So like, why not actually do it and just like have that empowerment of like, oh, I did it anyway. And like, this was so rewarding for me, because people are going to always have something to say. So like, why care about that? Like, life is
Yeah, exactly. And if you're out there judging, you can do it too. But I think, life is not forever, right? So I think at the end of the day, you just want to, a question I ask myself every day in my journal, which I also shared with my dad, when he was still here, was what do I want people to say in the end? And something I remind myself every day is I want them to say that she lived, that she followed her dreams, that she did the things, because we have this limited time. And if we have a calling or we have a gift, then we're here to share it. And at the end of the day, don't die with your music still in you. So yeah, I love what you said right now.
I love that. Don't die with your music in you.
Oh my God. And the light. And yeah, this is completely now pivoting, but what does shining your light mean to you, especially as, we're two brown women here on the podcast? And yeah, what does that mean to you, shining your light?
I love that question because I'm
going off script.
I'm in the phase of shining my light more than
Yes, my little kid is shining her light.
I love that. And I would love to put the question back to you as well, because from my side, shining my light is really just like this wholehearted love for myself. Because once you do that, the light never turns off. And it's such a beautiful feeling. And I think I know it's how do I get there? Even I didn't know. And I think trust the journey you're on. You're always exactly where you're meant to be. So even in the times where you don't even know where the light switch is, trust that that's for a reason, right? You get through that darkness, you get through that learning, and you come out the other side just knowing yourself, knowing that you will never leave yourself. Yeah, spiritually, I just feel love is a feeling. It's a feeling that we have for ourselves. And that's naturally when your light is going to shine. When you feel, for me, it's been feeling very secure in everything about me, the stuff that I'm struggling with, the aspirations that I have, the things that people are saying about me, the things that people are not saying about me, and the things that I say about myself. It's it's this whole unapologetic, fearless acceptance of
wow. Fearless acceptance.
Right?
That's profound, you guys.
Yeah. So that's naturally your light will shine because you're not apologizing for everything that you are, because that's literally what makes you special. And yeah, so that's been my journey of shining my light this year. But I would love to hear from you.
Oh my God. It's so interesting because we've connected on so many things, but recently I found out that we align in terms of the spirituality and the universe giving signs and shining the light and everything you said. I'm oh my gosh, authentic, twins over here. Shining my light, I don't know why it gets me emotional, but for me that means, it's doing it for the people that came before me. Yeah, it's shining it for all the people that came before me and carried the torch, all the women, and for the little me as well, and the future me's, the future ones that will come after. Yeah, I think that's what it means for me right now, is just doing it to honor the people. Yeah, what you said is so beautiful too, because I also feel the same way, especially with my dad's passing and everything. It was a painful time, but it's also been a time of comfort because I've been exploring my spirituality, and I was also able to meet a spiritual coach. There's so much support for us out here. There's it's a sense of trusting the universe, and whatever you believe in, there is support and there is great love. But it's also been that journey of putting that love back into myself. And that's something that I've been kind of good with in my life, is I'm very kind in the way I talk to myself, and I don't really verbally at least say anything negative about me. So that relationship of putting the love back into myself in a way. But yeah, shining my light is love and accepting the love around us as well.
I love what you said about putting that light back into yourself, doing the things that serve you and looking out for yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's really beautiful when you can trust, because I can honestly say, one of my mentors, Wendy Braun, she says, everything always works out for me. And when you look at your life, I'm thinking about 11 years ago, starting out as an actor, going to LA, not even knowing how this is possible, to now, in April, coming out of a trailer, holding a bottle of wine, and it's crazy because the previous me wouldn't believe it, but things have a way of working out, especially as you said, when you cannot see the light switch. And I think this is a good segue because we're going to be talking about this on your podcast. But I do want to ask a little bit that, so we'll get into more of the divine feminine on your podcast. But since you've kind of returning after a while as an actor, can you tell me something that's maybe changed for you in the way you approach, acting?
Yes, I love that. And you've been so crucial and integral in my acting journey.
I'm honored.
Yeah. So I think you would have seen this shift as well. But for me, the realization that acting is just like right now. It's just here. It's not something that I have to like go searching for. It's not like a process I have to tap into like, oh, now I'm acting.
You go for it.
Really, it's like acting is me. I am acting.
So freeing.
It's so freeing. It's like access it right now. Like this crazy energy of being an actor is me. So it's like right?
Preach that out to the windows.
Literally, it's like I don't need like some crazy method to get in there. So I think it's what I'm getting at is that it's a trust in myself, really.
Beautiful.
And what I always say to people is that acting training, I mean, hey, like, yes, go to training. It's not, we're not taking you to acting class to be like, this is how to be Nicole Kidman in like 5 months. Acting class is you getting to know yourself.
Thank you.
Acting class. And like that's what I've been advising other young actors. I'm like, do the work because it's self-work. It's like you
100%.
It could take 5 years, it could take 5 months for you to actually trust yourself and then be able to be like one of the greatest actors of all time, because the only thing that you needed to learn was to like tap into your own energy and like
that's beautiful.
Everything within you that can already do the job.
Yes. And you know, one of my favorite books is The Artist's Way. But if I think about Picasso painting a painting, I mean, I wish I'd met him, but he's not drawing, he's not thinking about it. He's just, you know, it comes through, right? And what you're saying is so great, because I'm just being honest about it right now. But something that's been so freeing for me lately is, you know, I'm a very heart-centered person. I'm a heart-centered coach. And I've also realized that if I'm going to go to an acting class and pay another coach, they do need to be heart-centered and like diversity affirming. It needs to be like a co-creative space where it's my consent. I'm not going to like just reveal my trauma. And I don't want to leave acting class feeling worse about myself. I have enough limiting beliefs already. And so it's been so freeing to be like, you know, I'm going to choose the spaces that align with me. And, yeah, I think a good acting class, at least for me, it shows us stuff about ourselves. And sometimes we might need to go to therapy and do the work there. You know, for me, a lot of the work I've been doing in my life has paid off in acting. And it's empowered me to also step into some really challenging and dark roles, because I love really intense roles. But it's also about then being able to step out and be really loving to myself so I can do that, right? Because we're stepping into intense, our body's going through all these emotions. But I think your self-love game needs to be really strong.
Yes, 100%. It's like that's what we're saying. It's like reframing all of these things that you see as flaws. I mean, actually, yeah, like even if you do see flaws in yourself, it's like dealing with them with so much love and compassion.
And people watching the flaws. That's gonna go viral, like the one where you like actually drop your phone like while you're making the video. Like people love seeing that.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like actually seeing all these flaws as like your superpowers, your gems. This is what people are winning Oscars for, guys.
Oh
like
my god.
For the imperfect moments and everything about them that, like, you know, their jealousy, their insecurity, like lean into that. That's like what we're here to do as age. Literally, like, yeah.
That's so beautiful. I just read Viola Davis's book, Finding Me, but everything that she said resonated as well. And just with, you know, for me, I really look up to her as an artist, as an actor, but she also spoke about that as just embracing, like finding me, right? Acting is the art of finding me.
Literally. And sometimes dig deeper to find those gritty parts of yourself, because that's what you're missing. You know, like if you're avoiding it, like that's your superpower.
Like we don't actually know all the parts of ourselves. You know, when I was in Pakistan, people told me I was a mouse because I never had a voice, and I thought I was a mouse. And so, you know, sometimes we put ourselves in boxes. We don't know that there's a sexy part of ourselves. We don't know there's a leader in us. I really believe everybody can be a leader. And so I think it's so cool. Like, yeah, acting does allow us to unlock all the parts of ourselves.
100%.
Come to an acting class, even if you don't plan to be an actor.
I think that we've inspired you now.
Well, let me actually come to some personal truths of getting deep. Like, I have no idea how long this has been recording. It's like 4 hours. But what is a creative risk or fuck it moment you're proud of?
This is a really good one. Okay. So it was with our friend Rylan, who's a fellow actor.
I love Rylan.
Shout out Rylan.
I love you so much.
So I love it because he's helped me like find like my fuck it takes when I do.
I love Rylan. I think he's like my acting coach.
Literally.
He helped me book my last job.
Truly. I mean, I booked most of my tapes I booked were with Rylan. So he's the secret weapon. Don't stalk Rylan now.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's Rylan Ganesan on Instagram.
So yeah, it's so if in case you don't know, like a fucking take is like, yeah, like Natasha always like, just do like a version that's like totally unexpected and like it might really impress them and intrigue the casting director. So
it'll wake them up and they'll stop scrolling.
Literally, like don't just play it on paper like how everyone else is playing it. So it was like a scene. I mean, I didn't get the job, but like it was such a freeing thing to just make a bold decision, and everyone in the room was really intrigued. So it was like, it was meant to be like I'm on a date with a kind of sketchy guy.
Sounds like my life.
Yeah.
What's the date?
And then it's like all of a sudden like people are trying to kidnap us, and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like, why are they after you? So Rylan was like, now these people are grabbing you, they want to tie you up. Like, what if you're really into it? Like, what if you're a girl who's like, yeah, tie me up, you know, like, so like it was so different because I was like, at first I was like, help, like they're after us, and then like in this version I was like, help.
Was this a commercial?
It was not a commercial, but it was so funny. And then it was like, yeah, like, or like, yeah, so it was just like switching it up to be like, oh, do that again or whatever. But anyway, people in the room like found it so exciting and different. I walked out feeling like that's what I'm an actor for, to play.
Yes.
Like I was like, why not take risks? Like, what do you have to lose? Like, if I didn't do it, I was probably not going to get the job anyway. But it's so much better knowing, like, I did it as a fucking take. Like, I did the normal way, and then I did the fucking one.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, that was cool. Like, I stayed true to my artist that day by doing that.
That's amazing. I love that. And that's so true that sometimes in a scene, playing the opposite of what you think, that can be gold. Because if it's like, you know, somebody who's been through something traumatic, maybe now she's feeling empowered instead of like crying.
Yes.
She's not a victim. Like she's like, so it's interesting sometimes. Yeah. Like what is the opposite, you know, or what is something unique I can bring to this? But I love what you said. And at the end of the day, yeah, like just walking away from our auditions knowing that you showed them your full vibe in that role.
Yes.
Like I gave you my full flavor of ice cream. You know, one of my mentors, Brian Pataka, says it as well. Like just, you know that you gave them your full flavor. So you walk away from that knowing that if you didn't book the job, you booked the room. I'm going to drop this mic. But yeah, no, it's so interesting too, because, you know, I booked something in April and that was a room that it was a challenging room to get into. But then I feel like I kept putting my all into the auditions and just doing good work, being professional. And then I booked something. And so don't forget that if somebody is calling you back for a second audition, that means that they want to see you, because they're otherwise not going to even be calling you in. So just be grateful for the opportunity and make connections with people. Be a good person.
Yeah.
We're on set, you know, be the best person, you know, on set, be the most humble, and that's going to help you book like the next job. So
100%. People just want people that they like working with, as in every industry.
And I think, you know, especially just at your birthday as well, meeting your colleagues, I can see also why people love working with you, because you're good at what you do, but you also brighten up their day. Speaking about this, we didn't get to the Minister of Joy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oh, Minister of Enjoyment. Tell me a bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So recently, so in these projects that I host with creators, well, I project manage them, and sometimes I get to host them as well on the in front of the camera side, because obviously I'm an actor. Like, why not? Like, I know everything about why we're writing this program, so I'm the best person to talk about it. And it's been cool. It's I love connection. I think that's what I've been realizing. Like, I love community building. That's why I love doing this work. And it was really cool. So the creators on the call, by day 2, they were like, Kat, you're my morning coffee. Like, you're the energy that I needed today. And then like they called me the Minister of Enjoyment. By the end, they were like, you were the Minister of Enjoyment, the Minister of Vibes too.
You are the Minister of Vibes.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Please run for government.
Add that to Parliament. So yeah, I think that was cool. It was cool for me because I'm just like, I get so much fulfillment by connecting with people, and I love that it's like received in the same way, and energy speaks louder than words. So I think I love being able to bring joy. I mean, like a big part of us as actors as well, you know, like, yes, sometimes we're leaning into the grittiness, like the the darkness of life, but it's to inspire healing, right? Like what we do is healing work, and it's cool when we get to be in spaces as well that celebrate like the joy of life. And
I mean, I think life is meant to be joyful. Like I think life is meant to be playful, and definitely acting is as well. And I think there can be joy in the sadness too. Like especially in a heavy role, I think there can also be joy. But I love that. Okay, so back to the speed round. What is one truth about the acting and creative industries people don't talk about enough?
Ooh, that it's hard. I don't know. That just came to my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I think we know it being in the community, but I definitely think people outside the acting community think that it's a lot more glamorous and easier than it is.
This is harder than when I was like in economics, you know, like this is harder than my corporate job.
Literally, because it's so like, I don't know, like it's putting yourself out there, like you are the job. So people don't realize, it becomes personal. Like, yes, you know, in corporate, like the project is the project. It's not like, it's not a reflection of you entirely. With the work we do, we are putting ourselves out there, and it's like quite literally sometimes it's like if you didn't get the job, it's because you weren't the right.
Like, I gave you my heart, like my whole heart on a platter.
And you didn't want it, so it's okay.
No, there was like a job I auditioned for at the end of last year where I had to like literally audition with 5 or 6 different husbands, and every time it was different, right? Because I'm just in the moment, and I'm like, you saw my entire range, everything, all of me, and I still didn't book it. But you know, like, love you guys, love the director. See you next time. But what mindset shift has helped you grow the most?
Stop caring so much about what people think, which is like a hard one.
How do you do that, or do you always care and you just do the stuff anyway?
I think you always care as human beings. Like we always consider it, but now I'm just like, let's do it anyway, because the more you do it, the less you care. And you realize it's not that bad. Like, and I'm grateful as well, because I feel like I've had a good community experience with like sharing my content, and I'm just like, sometimes most times the fears are in your head, and they'll always be worse in your head.
Like 0.9% of the time they're in your head, because it's so interesting too, because you know, even if you put something out there, there's at least one person who's gonna like it, right? And I mean, how many times have you put something out there and somebody responded with hate, like they're gonna look like a jerk? So I haven't really had any, like, I've been putting a lot of stuff recently out on socials, but the response has been very positive.
Exactly.
So the fears are in the head sometimes.
Yeah, and like keep the fears out, because if you think about it, you're gonna attract it.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one. Okay, let's see. So the last question is, the podcast is about following your effing dreams. What does that mean to you right now?
Following my effing dreams right now in this moment on this couch.
Comfy couch.
Is actually like, I think I used to have like a very clear one-dimensional idea of the dream, and as I'm growing up, it's becoming a lot more layered, and it's a longer journey. It's not like you do A plus B to get to C. It's like this really convoluted, layered, like cool journey. And I think just leaning in more to like, it is about the journey to getting, like, the dream is the journey, right? Like,
ooh, I love that.
Yeah, so it's like I used to see it a lot as like the dream is this end destination, but now I'm like, every day is a version of the dream. So that's what it means to me right now.
That's beautiful. I love it. You know, I think I read it somewhere, but it said also like, don't forget that the life you're living is somebody else's dream. So just reminding ourselves, even when it is hard, when you're going to an audition and you've been to like 6 that day, you know, at one point you were complaining you didn't have enough auditions, and you're going to 6 and you're exhausted. It's just like, this is the dream. Like, I get to do this.
It's like that thing of like, oh, what an honor it is to be tired because I have too much work. You know, like someone else is like out there looking for work. So yeah, I think reframing your perspective.
Yeah, I love that. And last thing is, what's your mission right now, and where can people find you?
My mission right now has also recently shifted. My mission is community.
That's beautiful.
Community through my work and through all my creative pursuits. That's the priority. And people can find me at Katishcka on...
How do you spell that? I will put that in the show notes. I finally spell your name right. I'm very proud. It's Shchka.
Yes, I have a hidden C in my name. So it's Katishcka.
I love your name. Literally. Is it Russian? Because like a lot of Indian people have Russian names.
Yeah, my mom said it was Russian. So far, I only know of one other Katishcka. If anyone else is Katishcka listening to this, please at me. Like, let's be friends. So yeah, and then that's it for now. But launching some new pages soon for like some creative work.
Amazing.
Too, so
oh my
keep
God.
an eye out.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thank you.
So much fun. I hope it's still recording, but I'm a big fan of you. And yeah, you've actually changed my life in so many ways.
You've changed my life.
Oh my God. Yeah, keep shining your light. And I think this is just the beginning for you. So yeah, I think you're creating community, but you're also kind of leading and just really bringing value in the world. So keep at it.
Yay!
All right, let's see if this baby recorded. Please tell me it was still recording.
Oh, yeah!
All right, and that's a wrap for today. If this episode lit a fire under your butt, made you think, or gave you that little push you needed, do me a favor, subscribe, leave it a review, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And remember, the F can be whatever we need it to be. Fearless, focused, free. F it. Let's keep moving. Follow me on Instagram at Follow Your Effing Dreams for more inspo behind the scenes and all the messy magic of chasing big dreams. Now get out there and follow your dreams. You've got this.